Hey guys, this is Jamie Rodriguez, and I'm here with Jeff Fasano, my co-host, and we are joined by one of the most exciting up-and-coming bands, the Foxies. Jake, Rob, Julia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Really stoked to have you guys. And let me start with this. Jake, let me start with this. When I first heard you guys, I could not comprehend the type of sound that you guys were. I mean, because, growing up in the 90s or whatever, you had AC/DC, you had Metallica. Then you had, the pop punk that you were so fascinated by. Mm-hmm. But I had never been exposed to this glam rock thing that you guys, this connotation that you guys made. Jake, when did you realize that you were onto something completely unique that was not there before?
You know, the whole thing with the Foxies was crazy because there was a scene for kind of alternative pop music in Nashville when we started playing. And I mean, I think I first caught the glam vibe when we first played together.
Yeah.
But playing those first couple shows, we felt like we were part of something here and that we were unique because there was nothing else that felt kind of that raw. And the other artists we played with were fantastic, but there was a grittiness that we brought, and I think we just kind of took that all the way, and it kind of morphed.
Julia, and how did you stay true to that? What I mean is, like, especially in a town like Nashville, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay true to it?
I think it's just more so just like not. Am I allowed to cuss?
Hell yeah.
Okay, cool. Not giving a fuck about like what other people are doing and just sticking to the roots of like what made us a band in the first place and what we love and how we feel when we play this type of music on stage. I mean, that's when you know that something's real and honest and true, is like how you feel when you get to perform it. And it's just like this other creature is just like doing it for you. It's effortless.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Rob, let me ask you this. You've done several projects. You've been a musician your whole life. When did you realize, when you met Julia, when did you first realize, man, like this is like an authentic Joan Jett rock star. This is not your average run of the mill. This is a one in a million.
Well, I mean, you really asked the perfect person in the band because the story of how I came into the band is kind of that. You know, I saw them play. I was playing with a different artist at the time, and we shared the stage together. And the first time I saw her play, I was like, man, she's so good. Like performance-wise, just that badass kind of like punk attitude. Just I don't even care. Like I could spit on the audience if they wanted. It doesn't even matter. Whatever. And she would. And then the music was just so catchy. So I mean. It was from day one, and that's exactly. I came up to her and I said, "Yo, I need to be in this band."
Is it a little bit of like band jealousy? Is there such a thing? Like you're in a band, you see someone like you guys kicking ass, and it's like, man, like I kind of want to be in that one. You know, I don't want to be in this old one anymore.
I mean, in that instance, yes. Like right now, I'm like, I'm in a band with my two best friends. I'm working. We're talking every day, all the time, doing everything. And it couldn't be any easier now to do that work. But back then, I mean, I was just a guy to hire. So to me, it didn't matter. I came down here to be the guy to hire, not to get into a project that I wanted. And then when I saw her, I was like, man, I'm breaking my rule. Like, I want to be in this band. Like, I don't want to be hired. I want to be in the Foxies.
Nice.
So that's how Keith Moon got into The Who, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
You notice that? After he went to see the show, and he walked up to Roger Daltrey and said, I want to be the drummer in your band.
Yeah, I legit said, your drummer sucks.
Yeah, he literally came up to me. He was like, so your drummer sucks, let me be your drummer. And I was like, all right.
And you know what? In defense to this drummer, he does not actually suck.
No, he's amazing.
He's a great drummer.
He just wasn't our drummer.
He just wasn't the drummer for the job. Tonality wise on the drums, things you miss. And this band is so, if you listen to our songs and you listen to the recordings, everything has tonality. Like every instrument, the guitar tones, the drum tones, they're very specific. We don't just throw a drum on and that's the drum, you know, like we listen to it, we play it, and we're like, this is the drum for the record, this is the drum for the song. And like, that just wasn't doing it for me, you know, it was very non-specific, and I was like, you got to bring me on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my question is
Yes.
now. All right, so I'm obviously much older than everybody here.
No.
Yes.
No.
And not in spirit.
All
In
right.
spirit. I love you guys.
We love you.
So I grew up at CBGB's. In 1977, when I turned 18, I went to CBGB's and was filled with that. I saw you guys at Bonnaroo, and that energy, I get goosebumps. When I saw you guys at Bonnaroo, that energy that was there, it just brought me to the place of you guys could have been on that stage back in 1977.
Yeah.
So it leads to me, where, because I lived it, where did all of that for you guys really, really come from to get to this? Because what you're doing is that in 2021.
Yeah.
Like when I watch you and what you're doing on stage, and when I listen to you guys, the energy, and folks, this is a band to see live. You can listen to everything on their website and anything you want, but if you really want to get a taste of what they do, you really have to see them live to feel it. And I'm getting goosebumps now.
Aww.
So enough of my pontificate. Where did it come from?
You know, I think honestly, like, I grew up listening to Blondie, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, The Smiths, The Cure, Billy Idol. And as I was growing up and going through my teenage years, I was doing music, but nothing actually felt raw and real. And that was like, because I was trying to be a pop star, you know? I was trying to be like a little pop rocker. And then as I finally moved here and met these guys, we all just kind of were like, shit, like, let's just put our heads together and let's rock the way that feels the most comfortable to us on stage. And lo and behold, like, all of my influences come rushing back to me when I'm performing, and it's like it's second nature. So I definitely feel like, though it's not fully in the recorded music as punk as our shows are, we feel like we got to keep punk alive, and that's the way we do it, is live. We give people a spectacle. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I mean, we all grew up as live musicians. Yeah. And I think for all the things that separate us, we love, it sounds cheesy, we love rock and roll. We love the history of rock and roll. And I think, you know, accolades and awards and output information aside, I remember seeing CBGB documentaries. I remember obsessing over concert DVDs and videos when I was a kid. It's like, I can't make it not sound cheesy, but it's like when we get on stage doing our thing in a club, that's our chance to be that.
Yeah.
So where does it come from? It comes from the fact that we all want that.
Yeah.
Whether it's attainable or that old time or the records sound like something that they don't. We just want that. We want that, like, that rock and roll cred. And we're not exactly kids from the street, so we have to do it with our music.
And let me grab that and go here. Last year there were live streams from all the other bands. Everyone was doing live concerts. You know, some were great, some were amazing. But the one that you guys did at the Accident, I believe June, I even remember. Yeah. And you guys started, you know, Anti-Socialite maybe? Was that the first one?
Well,
Hyper.
yeah, it was Hyper. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember exactly, like, it was, in my mind, the best live stream, like straight up. How were you guys able to channel what Jeff is saying into that live component? Because you guys did a better job than anybody.
Man.
That was not easy.
Because you guys feed off of the audience so much. Yeah.
Well, can I take this one?
Yeah, do it.
So it kind of is a continuation of the other conversation, but I mean, no matter what genre, there's still that energy and that raw element of just being organically you. And for us, that's who we are. Yes, the audience being there really helps in a way, but you're still just doing your thing. So we were up there, like the old saying, like if there's 5, 10 people, 1,000 people, just play your best show, do your thing. Like, CBGBs, no one cared who was there. They were there to play their music and people were going to see it. And again, that could be there's some pop punk bands that you could say emulated that. It was just a mindset, a time and place in your own brain where bands just played. And that's what we are, and that's why it came out that way. Julia is such a great performer in that way. As a front woman, I don't know how she would not, be affected by that. I mean, there's like no one there. There's cameras. There's an iPad with people commenting, and you're just like, what a world.
I think, we had a show planned across the street at the end, which is kind of like the CBGBs of West Nashville, and we had that planned for March, and it got canceled. And I'm sure that there was that longing we were pissed that we couldn't play that show. And then we didn't necessarily talk about it before, but it's what he's saying. It was like, let's go do a show, and it's also a credit to the production team that we had to help us put it on. We just went, we'll go play a live show. I don't care who's there.
It is very difficult though. Like, that's where my the little voices in my head help me out a bit, because it's like, Julia, just imagine everybody here, like play it on out, like talk to your imaginary friends. Like, it's that simple. But there is a part of me though that's like, you're getting anxiety from trying to put on the best show possible for literally no one or everyone. You don't know which one it is. Yeah. And so like, I feel like now that we've done one live stream, we could do the next one 20 million times better, because we know what to expect and we know what it feels like. We don't have to go above and beyond. Like, I get word vomit very easily, and especially if nobody is there, I end up saying weird shit. It just happens. Like, it's like, Julia, you're making no sense, shut up. And it's like, he'll start a track early if I'm talking about nonsense.
If I had a muted mic more often, you'd see me lean over going, shh.
Oh yeah. Or if he could mute me, he would.
I wouldn't do that. At one point, we have like a song where there's like a transition between, some of the backing stuff and the lights are programmed. So like a lot of it has to be within a certain time constraint. So there's been a point where I've programmed like little sound effects in the background to be like, okay, I only have this much time. And then another sound effect for Julia to just be like, okay, I gotta really stop talking. Like,
I mean, you're a trooper though. Like, you're a real champion. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I don't know if we were talking about my band or another band. They said, was the lead singer always right? And I was like, I don't know if it's necessarily about the lead singer always being right, but they are always the lead singer. We're not the Eagles. It's not like one of us gets up and sings a song. Like, she's always got to sing it. So yeah, we're a band, and we're a band till we die, but she's still got to be the one to sing it. So it's easy for us to be like, just go up there and play a show. Like, she's the one that's got to be, she's got the most face time. She's got to be in the center of the stage and has to deliver these songs to a bunch of guys helping us do lights.
And she's got to stare at their faces. You and I can turn and look at instruments.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to play a little song for us, and then we'll continue this great
But
Sure.
yes.
I love it.
What's up, guys? We're the Foxies, and this song is called Deep Sea Diver. I breathe you in. Can we start again? To the moment when I should have known better. Let me take you out from the underground. What you dreaming about? Lost in the sound. Should have known better, 'cause I turned to oxygen to fill your lungs up. So yeah, could feel love, you could feel love. And baby, I'm a deep sea diver, jumping into the water. Live on your electric island. Am I gonna sink or swim again? Waves are gonna pull me under, jumping into your water. I'll dive into the blue with you. I'm never gonna take a breath. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. I searched for days getting lost in your haze. Will you light the way? I should've known better. I take the fall just to feel it all. Are you feeling down? 'Cause I'm feeling now. Guess we should've known better. 'Cause I turn to oxygen to fill your lungs up. See, yeah, could feel love, you could feel love. And baby, I'm a deep sea diver, jumping into the water. Live on your electric island. Am I gonna sink or swim again? Waves are gonna pull me under, jumping into your water. I'll dive into the blue with you. I'm never gonna take a breath. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And so far down now I go. With the way that you pull me. With the way that you pull me. With the way that you. It's so far down now I go. With the way that you got me. With the way that you got me. With the way that you. Jumping into the water, live on your electric island. Am I gonna sink or swim? Waves are gonna pull me under, jumping into your water. I'll dive into the blue with you. I'm never gonna take a breath. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. And we're in the deep end now. And we're in the deep end. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I think that's the chillest you've ever seen us.
That is awesome. but there's some strength to it at the same time.
Thank
It's
you.
beautiful, absolutely.
Thank you.
And since we're in the music topic here, let's pivot to a couple of great songs that you guys have released this year. Screws
Hey!
and Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
Very different stories for each. Let's
Yes.
start with Timothée Chalamet, because that has a unique little origin story there, right, Jake?
Timothée Chalamet. We wrote that song in LA a couple years ago, and it kind of just lived in the vault for a while. And Julia really
For a while.
pushed on our manager to put it out.
I
And,
love that song.
and TikTok said, "Let's do it." So we
So
did
we
it.
done did
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So did you put like a preview on TikTok and people went nuts over
We
it,
shared
right?
the demo.
Yeah.
And we were like, if you guys want this, you gotta say something, and they totally did.
Like it went up like 1 million streams, like unbelievable.
Ah,
It's crazy.
it was really cool.
Okay. And then Screws, I think it's like an anthem for like everything that you guys stand for, right?
Mm-hmm.
For, like,
It's very us.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely like the song that's just kind of like, I think the pivotal moment for everyone that everybody has. Like it's just kind of like, I am not normal, but normal, is that even a thing? Yeah. Is that even real? And this is, yeah, what is normal? Normal does not exist. It's like a freaking fiction novel. It's fake. It's completely fake. I mean, the people who seem like they have it all together, they don't. Nobody does.
Yeah. Right.
So that's our anthem to everybody being like, listen, it's not real. Don't believe what everything else in the world tells you that normal is a certain thing, because it's not.
I think people are realizing that too, especially through COVID, that
Yeah.
like the pretext of what normal is changing anyway. You know, this like whether it's American Dream, and there's some of those pressures where like she even says, one of the lyrics, having a quarter life crisis. It's like, why are we having crises at all? You know, like, why are you going through this? Be satisfied, you know, like be accepting of yourself. And you don't think about that, you know?
You don't.
And it wasn't even until this moment, even talking about it now, where it, you know, took on a whole new meaning to myself, you know? So.
Yeah. It's definitely the anthem for all of us weirdos, meaning everybody, because everybody is fucking weird. Yeah. Whether they admit it or not.
We all
Everybody's
have quirks.
But it's true, Julia. I think that there's something about the Foxies that is actually really deep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot about, you know, living with passion,
Yeah.
living with gratitude is like a common denominator of all your songs. You just rock out to them. Yeah. But it's a lot of like, listen, like, life is problems, but it's just how you handle the problems that makes a difference.
Exactly. That means a lot that you pointed that out, because it's like, yeah, I mean, like, we could sit and write songs all day, but the ones that we end up putting out and the ones that we end up wanting people to hear are the ones that actually have a meaning. It's like a Vincent van Gogh painting. Like, look into it and actually like decipher what you think that means. We don't want to be blunt and say, like, I love you so much, my heart beats for you. No, we'd rather say, like, my heart's a ticking time bomb for you, or something like that, you know? Like, my screws are loose.
I think you touched on, like, what we're all feeling when we're not together with Screws. We feel a lot better when we're together. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if somebody ever asked me, why did you guys release Timothée Chalamet, I feel like Screws is the response.
Because our screws are loose.
Yeah, there you go.
We're just trying to find out how to tighten it.
They're not really loose.
But realistically,
They're just a little bit.
Yeah, not really.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
there's another side to that. It's like, you know, there's so many sides to music, and there's that curtain that musicians put up. Like, we need fans.
Yeah.
And fans wanted Timothée Chalamet.
They did.
So sorry if it's the most like plain song that's about a boy and a heartthrob, and like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, Weezer put out Beverly Hills. Do you think that they were like, this is the best song ever?
Well, also too, with Timothée Chalamet, like, that was in the midst of like COVID, where we still are, but that was kind of more deeper into it, where it was like everybody was hearing the same type of song, like, I'm sad, I'm stuck in my head, when is this pandemic gonna end? Stand 6 feet away from me. We wanted a song that literally meant nothing, just a song to get people out of their heads and they could just dance to it. And that was basically us being like, Timothée Chalamet.
We give him a disco song.
True.
Oh,
Maybe about disco song, yeah.
okay, so you just opened the door.
Why?
You just opened that door. And you guys are not goth disco.
It was part of our evolution.
Is it part of the evolution?
Yeah, it was like monkey turning into man.
I actually think a radio station called us that, though.
That was us.
What wasn't it that? Oh, did you call us that?
I did. Oh, thanks for pointing a finger.
Well, I mean,
Well, Julia does like to do like not paint, but like spitball, like you know the brainstorming you see at like really good meetings, and they're sitting in there and somebody's just spouting out. Sometimes you're just like, a lot of this makes
Cool,
no
it
sense.
sticks.
But then there's someone over there going, that's cool, that's really cool. Yeah. And there's some creative that's just got stuff rolling through, and they're just.
Right.
Yeah.
She's so good at that, and I mean that in the best way possible. She's just got great stuff running through her, and sometimes it's a million miles a minute. So when she says something, she says, you're like, okay, whatever, and then something you're like, that's cool. It was one thing that's just like, it was a cool sound. No one called themselves goth disco. You're like, this works. Yeah. And then when you really look at it, you're like, we aren't really disco. We're not really goth.
It was more so like what you were saying, kind of like what we kind of get our inspirations from. And it was more so like, we love The Cure. Yeah. We love the Smiths. Yeah, exactly. The freaking, you never hear freaking Morrissey singing a love song. No. It's like, we love that, and then we love disco. And then it was like, okay, so we were riding on the glitter punk train for a second. Let's just change it to goth disco. And then it was like, wait, but.
I also think like part of what when we're doing our best work, we don't know how to describe it.
We don't.
I think when we put out Growing Up Is Dead, the thing that I loved about it, and I can't really speak for y'all, but I think we all loved it. I couldn't tell you what it sounded like, which was what made me so excited about it. So the other side of that coin is it's really freaking hard to describe.
Well, it's like,
who knows?
You don't even need labels. Labels.
I know. We just felt like goth disco one day. Instead,
just one day we woke up.
The whole thing with, what do the Foxies sound like? Well, they sound like Blondie meets Morrissey meets
Right.
this and meets that. No, they sound like the Foxies.
I love that. That's how you become legendary.
Well, that is
That's,
like
what
an
you, that's
attest.
what you sound like.
It's
Yeah,
like
well, I
it
appreciate
shows
that,
that
yeah.
on the radio. Think about like pop radio. Remember
Oh,
when
yeah.
pop radio used to be anything that was popular and good, and now it's just one thing. I
Yeah.
miss that radio station. I miss the station you throw on and it's got Green Day,
Ashanti.
Ashanti.
Yeah.
Third Eye Blind.
Like every band, it was
Yeah.
just what was good.
Well, and that's back to the 70s. I think the late 60s and 70s kind of invented that, where
It was the beginning of FM radio back in 19.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Play
And
was
that
good.
was on the
genre
charts.
specific radio because
Yeah.
it's so playlisted. It's like we're this.
Oh, yeah.
And you're
Well,
just like, man.
And pop music was pure. It was Joni Mitchell or the Eagles. It was also musical soundtracks and Miles Davis and hard rock and acid rock
When
and
FM radio
Earth,
came
Wind, and
along,
Fire.
it was everything.
Yes.
Everything.
I miss it.
Everything, people doing just, the first time I heard Queen.
Yes.
And then right after Queen, they played the Eagles.
Yeah.
And then right after the Eagles, they went and played the Dead Boys.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Just think about how cool that was. And you got to hear everything.
Yeah.
And then you could pick and choose.
And now everything's organized and it's
Yeah.
sterile.
That door is cool when it's open, right? It's kind of what you're saying. When that door is open, it's really cool because you're letting things in. When it's closed, it's just a wall, and that's not really fun. You're keeping things out.
And Julia, I want to also you were talking about legendary bands. Something that you guys have that I think does not go unnoticed, but I don't think it's talked about enough. We were talking about Bruce Springsteen. He's got his bigger ambitions than music. You
Yeah.
talk about someone like Bono.
Yeah.
You talk about someone like Tom Petty. I feel like I don't know if you guys hear this enough because there's too much noise on social media. But you guys have spoken when things have need to be said in the world, and I want to thank you guys because the world has listened and it's mattered.
Thank you.
And also one of them on a serious note was like there was an incident here in Christmas in Nashville with a bombing, and I feel like I think you live close to where that happened.
Yeah, like 3 blocks.
And that really affected you, and you made some posts that I think were really good, just for the city and rallying people and for the greater heart.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, it's always hard for me personally to say things because I'm not good with words. I am very bad with words. Jake is like the freaking word guru over here.
Everything goes through him.
But that was the thing. Like it was weird. It's like, come on, people, get your shit together. Like if we don't start loving each other and taking a stand for each other, then the world's just gonna eat shit. Yeah. And do we really want that to happen? No. So it's like, let's all just love each other, do things out of love. Do things because we care about each other, because we're all human.
Yeah.
And stop hurting one another. It's that simple. So that was just come on, guys. Seriously.
It's also trying to set that precedent of we have a place of influence, and to use that, and not necessarily to preach one thing or the other because that's so overdone, but more or less to just be there and gracious to everyone and just loving to everyone no matter what, Julia's always so good at that of come to our shows, come to this, no matter who you are, what you believe in, who you love, love is love,
Exactly.
It's simple.
Yeah.
So Jeff, before the Foxies take us away with a song, why don't you why don't you finish it off?
that question, it was lingering.
There's so many in your head.
Something that we were talking about earlier and that we were talking about before we went on the air. You started to go there about what has happened in the pandemic. And you started to tell me about where we are really now finding ourselves.
Yeah.
Finding ourselves as musicians, as friends, really finding ourselves. So expand on that. What have you found really about this band?
I think all of us separately, we are all such free spirits and we are roaming souls. And it's just it never really made sense until the world stopped. And we actually were able to kind of tear a layer of the onion back and literally be okay, we have to adapt to this new thing. We can't tour when we were supposed to. Like 2020 was going to be a huge year touring for us. We were going to be busy almost every month. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, we can either let this break us or build us. And we chose the latter of the two because it's like, we're not going to be one of those bands that fizzle away, because we've said it from the very beginning. We're going to be legendary, and we're working on that. It might take us a little bit longer because the world has stopped, but it's taking everybody a little bit longer. Yeah. And I'm very, very thankful, oddly enough, for this press pause moment, because now we're able to write the best music that we've ever written before, and that actually like spells out who we are. And Screws, playing that live, full band, oh, be ready for it, because you're going to get punched in the face.
Love it.
With rock.
And in that note, let's play a song, because that's a great place to leave it.
Punch us in the face.
All right.
I'll pass on that, but yeah.
We'll punch you with our love.
Exactly.
Love punch.
For something.
Love punch.
You gotta write that.
Yeah, love punch.
What are you guys gonna take us home with?
Let's do Screws. Why not? Yeah. 1, 2,
My screws are loose, I think that I swallowed a few in late July. Oh, or maybe back when I was 5, 'cause I've never been like all of the other guys or anybody else. I'm talking to myself. The liquor on my shelf is making faces at me. My screws are loose, I know that I got more to lose before I die. Oh, I bought myself some rollerblades so I could learn to roller skate. Oh, just like I did when I was 10. Now both my wrists are broke again. Oh no, it's a quarter-life crisis. I'm talking to myself. The liquor on my shelf is making faces at me. My screws are loose, I know that I got more to lose before I die. Oh, my screws are loose, it's not true. Don't wanna take you crazy, Bill. Sometimes it's kind of crazy because it's like a bebop-a-doo my brain, bebop-a-doo my brain, bebop-a-doo my brain. My eyes sometimes hurt when I lie awake in my bed. I don't mind beep-beep-bop-a-doo, beep-beep-bop-a-doo in my mind all the time. I don't mind. My screws are loose, I know that I got more to lose before I die. Oh, I'll lose my shit. My screws are loose, it's not true. Don't wanna take you crazy, Bill. Oh, my screws are loose, I know that I got more to lose before I die. Oh, my screws are loose, it's not true. Don't wanna take you crazy, Bill. Oh, You good?
Oh my God, amazing.
Man,
Thank you guys.
Try playing brushes with tape in the middle. I was like, the brushes were getting stuck the whole time. It's like,
Thank you.